Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jay Icy or Jicey. And yep, you read the title. Today we're gonna be talking about bad drivers, and that's because your boy has had enough. These drivers, they finally got your boy. And so today I want to do like a little rant. Just come on here and say what I gotta say. So let's get started with the video. Now, to start off the episode, I kind of want to give you guys like a little story of the typical driver that you meet in New York. This story actually happened to me last week when I was dropping off my dad at work. And I thought, you know what, this would be a perfect example to give you guys about a bad driver. So during the drive to my dad's job, we ended up at a red light. And up until that point, it was pretty normal, you know, a typical day. There's people everywhere, there's cars everywhere. Just a normal day driving in New York. You know, the light turns green, so that means it's our turn to go. The thing is, the guy in front of us didn't move at all. And I can see him, you know, he's on his phone. So I'm like, you know, we got to get this thing going. My pop's got to go to work. So I honked the horn and he starts speeding off. And I guess, like, you know, he was all embarrassed and all that because, you know, when you get honked, you're kind of afraid that they're going to pull over and just like give you that stare down, which, I mean, I could have done that, but I didn't want to at that point because I was like, you know, I'm just trying to drive my dad to work. And so I keep following him, or at least it looks like I'm following him, when in reality, we're probably going in the same direction. And we end up at another red light. Tell me how this man does the same exact thing where he's looking over at his phone, the light turned green, and he doesn't go. And so obviously I have to honk at him because I'm like, we got to keep this traffic going. So I honk at him again and he starts speeding off. But this time he turns left. Now the problem with that was he was driving so fast that he didn't even see it was a one-way street. So he turned this way when the traffic is going that way. That's a problem because if there was someone there, he could have crashed into them and it could have been this whole thing. Luckily, there was no one there and he just kept driving. I don't know if he meant to do that because some people like to do that, like a shortcut to their house or something. I didn't see what where he went because I just kept going forward and just went about my day. And it did leave me with this. I was thinking like, damn, you know, like there really are some dumbass drivers out here. And so that's what we're going to be talking about, bad drivers today, because they just stay being menaces to society. Now, before I start ranting about bad drivers, I do want to state that I don't consider myself an expert in driving. And that's because I've only been driving for about like a little over a year. And so, you know, I don't have too much experience, at least that's what some people would think. However, I would say that I do have a good amount of experience because I drove in 3 different states. One of them was Maryland, Pennsylvania, and obviously New York. And all of them brought their own different experiences because they're different areas with different drivers. And so, you know, I have some experience at least in each of those places. With that being said, I think also me not driving a long time does like help out in my favor because there is this stigma and stereotype that drivers form, you know, bad habits after getting their license. You know, like they stop caring, they start like, you know, breaking some laws. You know, I'm still the type of person to still drive, you know, 10 and 2 on the wheel, try not to look at the phone, try to follow the speed limit. And so I feel like, you know, maybe not being able to drive and form those bad habits, you know, after a while, kind of does help me in my favor. I'm not sure if later on I'll form bad habits or even that is like a real stereotype. Now that you guys know like my status as a driver, let's get started with the rant. I hope you enjoyed like the little story I gave earlier because it was pretty funny to see in person. And however, it wasn't the first time that, you know, something like that has happened or, you know, that got me thinking like, damn, you know, there are some dumb drivers out here. I feel like all of us have encountered someone at some point, you know, while driving, and we sort of just stare at them thinking like, damn, you know, like how the fuck did they get their license? I know that may sound a little harsh, but in reality, you know, it just amazes me how some people are out here driving like it's Mario Kart. You know, like they don't care about their lives, their cars, their car insurance rates, which has been on the rise lately. You know, I'm trying to avoid that because the bread is slowly getting sliced off your boy's bank account. And so I don't want to deal with any crashes or anything like that. But I don't think anyone will disagree with me, you know, because while driving is still, yeah, like a luxury and a privilege, I feel like it's become a hassle and unnecessarily stressful. However, what I found interesting was that driving is very different depending on the area you live in. As I mentioned before, I was able to drive in 3 different states, and they all brought their own experiences to me. The thing is, I won't be like, you know, doing a comparison of each this episode. I think I'm just going to talk about the bad drivers, and that'll be it for the video today. That being said, I think the only bad drivers in Maryland and Pennsylvania are the pickup truck drivers And I say that because those are the ones that tend to be like, right behind you, like right on your, like if they want to smell your farts or something. And so, that's pretty annoying. But what's more annoying is when they actually, merge into another lane, then get in front of you because you think they're going to keep, speeding forward and then just like leave you. But instead, they end up just stopping right there and pretty much you end up tailgating them. And, that's annoying, extremely dangerous, and not to mention illegal because you could get pulled over for tailgating in certain areas. I think in certain areas of the country. I do want to mention that maybe like those are the most annoying because I don't want to like clump all pickup truck drivers in there, but I think it's because those cars are more common in those states. Like you rarely see some of them in New York. That's all I got to say about Maryland and Pennsylvania drivers. They tend to be more polite, less hostile than the New York drivers, which are a whole different breed. So that's all I got to say about them. I feel like driving in New York is kind of like driving in GTA because you got to worry about the cars, the people, the cats, the dogs, the birds, the squirrels. You got to worry about everything because it might pop out of nowhere. And I know some people may not care about, like the animals running around. But, for me, I don't want running over a cat on my conscience. So I tend to be, more aware and just more cautious. And I feel like, you have to be on high alert when driving in New York, which, like I said earlier, adds unnecessary stress to your day. Also, just to be clear, I'm not scared of driving. I'm just annoyed by some of the things that come with driving. I don't want to come off as a pussy or anything. It's just, I'm annoyed at some of these things. So just want to make that clear. I'm not scared of driving. I'm just annoyed by some of the things. Some of the small things I kind of just want to, briefly mention right now because they're pretty self-explanatory are when drivers change lanes without using their turn signal. That's pretty dangerous. People who drive too slow, people who take up both lanes, when driving. Because, it's like, I can't get past you. So, my man, you got to pick one lane to drive in. Also, when drivers don't turn on their lights when it's nearing nighttime. If I can't see you, I might crash into you. And I feel like no one wants that. So, that's pretty annoying. When people leave their turn signal on, like even after they turn, it's pretty annoying, I would say. Also, when people signal that they're going to turn at the last second, I feel like that's very annoying because, I'm like right behind you. You could have signaled before. Because if you signaled beforehand, I could have, changed it to the other lane and just kept going forward and just went around you. But because you wait at the last minute, I'm like right behind you. And now I got to wait with you, and the oncoming traffic, coming our direction is not going to let you turn because, they want to keep moving forward. And the traffic, to our side is not going to let me merge in because they want to keep going forward. And, I'm just like 100% stopped. They're still moving. And so that's pretty annoying because all of that could have been avoided if they at least given me a chance to change lanes. So that's what I find annoying about people who use their turn signal at the last minute. And the next thing I want to talk about is double parking. And right off the bat, I just want to say that I'm not against double parking because I know some people do it in order, when they pick up food or when they're waiting for someone that they're picking up. But I am against it when that person, driving and double parking doesn't consider like, leaving space for people to pass by. And especially like, in the area that I live in, the streets are very narrow. So like only one car fits through. So technically double parking just means you're blocking the whole street. And, it happens a lot very often in my block. And like I said, it's very annoying when you're trying to go somewhere and you see someone double parked and you can't get by them because they're blocking the whole street basically. And, some of them are very inconsiderate. They don't even bother moving. They kind of just make you wait the full 5 minutes. And so that's when I find double parking very annoying. And like I said, I understand earlier, if you're picking up food or if the person's going to be out in like a minute, I'm fine with that to an extent. But when you see like it's a, one car street, it's like go find a spot to wait or like a driveway because, you're just creating traffic at that point. Now, one final thing I want to talk about bad drivers are when they don't know how to park or when they park badly to the point where they take up 2 parking spaces. And some people may not think this is a trait or characteristic of a bad driver, but I feel like parking does, take part of the driving experience, especially since we're, it's on our test when we take our license. So I count parking as the driving. The thing I want to mention is that I live in a house that does not have a driveway, and so I actually have to look for street parking, and it is so annoying when you're looking for a parking spot and you see one open, and you go over, you size up to it, and when you try to go in, you find out it's too small that you can't fit. And then you see either the car in front of you or the car in back of you has like more space that they could have went, and then they end up taking like two parking spaces. That's just so annoying. And if you don't know what I mean, I'm gonna show a picture like right over here. As you can see, the car, it's like in a big ass spot. If it were to go forward, someone could park in back of it. If it were to go in reverse, some car could park in front of it. And so like I said, you can see there that they're being very inconsiderate, and pretty much like, if they did it on purpose, being a dick at that point, because instead of giving the parking spot to another person, they took two parking spots and made it to one big parking spot for themselves. So that's what I mean by, bad parking. This shit is even more annoying when, when you come back from like a party and it's like 2 or 3 a.m. Because first of all, there's barely any parking at that time. Past 12 o'clock or even past 11 o'clock, there's barely any parking in New York. So imagine like getting that little bit of hope, when you see a spot open. And like I said, you go size up to it, and it turns out you can't fit in it. And then you see, like I said, a car, either in the front or in the back, having more space that they could have used up. I feel like that's just, it's so annoying to have that. And it could ruin legit your whole month, because you could just be thinking about that time like, damn, that driver was a dick for doing that. And so, that's what I find very, annoying, is when someone takes up two parking spots when they could have took one. To finish off the video, I want to say that there actually is a specific driver out there that does all these things. And those drivers are the TNLC drivers, who just create unnecessary traffic and just ruin your daily drive to work, to school, or wherever you're going. Now, if you don't know what TNLC stands for, it stands for Taxi and Limousine Commission, which is a taxi company in New York. I understand that these drivers, they make a living off commission. So I understand, if they drive a little faster, but I don't understand, what driving in both lanes or turning without a turn signal does to help you get more customers. I mean, like I said, I feel like it just all comes down to bad driving. The most interesting thing is that TNLC actually screens, before they hire a person, and you need a specific license to get in. And it's like, I feel like that company needs to like start making it more difficult, because like I said, it's like 95, or maybe not 95, maybe like 85% of their drivers are just terrible. They're everywhere. Like I said, it could be the same thing with the whole pickup truck thing, where because they're everywhere, you're more likely to find a bad driver. But it's like every day, I encounter one of these TNLC drivers just cutting me off or driving in both lanes or looking at their phone like, these guys are supposed to be driving for a living, and yet they don't know how to. So that just, blows my mind. If you're ever driving behind a car and, they start to slow down, put their hazards on, and comes to a complete stop to double park and makes you wait with them for someone that they're picking up, it's more than likely a TNLC driver. And like I said earlier, they're definitely one of the worst drivers I've encountered. It's unfortunate that, they're in New York and I have to live with them. And to just top it all off, I want to say that the person or the driver from my story from before was actually a TNLC driver. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you for listening to my little rant about bad drivers, or should I say TNLC drivers. Just thank you. And if you guys agreed with any of it, just let me know in the comments. But also, if you like this type of video, let me know. Maybe I could rant about something else in the future. It was pretty fun making this one, and, just blowing off some steam, trying to say what I want to say. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and please, guys, keep it peaceful and stay safe.